Seems it never rains in Southern California.
Well, Le Mans Blue's gone here on Monday. That was picked up earlier today. Anthracite is not, or was not picked up on Saturday because they canceled the train. So he's stuck in Los Angeles, tried to get a flatbed today. They can't come until tomorrow or Wednesday at some point. So this one's still here. Bunch of work on the transmission resealing car. So transmission's done. We're gonna go up and get it tomorrow from the OC sublet. But in the meantime, the rear main seal's been replaced, the flywheel's on, the clutch kit's on, and we've done the electrical tape repair on the clutch line per customer request, in addition to differential fluid. So we are ready to get the transmission installed, followed by the drive shaft, which has a flex, which has a fresh center support bearing. Old one was clicking like crazy. So that's on. And then of course, we notice there's a little bit of a tear in the CV boot right there. So told him about that. He asked for a quote. I sent that off. We'll see what he says. I might have one of those in stock, so it could be an easy thing to do tomorrow. But if things go well tomorrow, we'll have that car running and driving again and hopefully ready for pickup. If not by the end of tomorrow, then later this week. Wheels are back on the M3, looking beautiful. A little dark in this light. This is a really tough finish to replicate, as everyone knows, this chrome shadow. So here it looks nice and light, light silver, and then in the shadows, it really turns a darker color. A little bit more so than my original ones, but you can't buy those anymore. So I do think this is about as good as it's gonna get. They're certainly pretty, just need the center caps to go back on. Ken came in his 03 540 M-Tech today. We replaced that general module. Still no lights working inside the car. It is just, I don't know. I've never really been so perplexed with something. He had LEDs inside. We took those out. We disconnected all the lights before we even plugged the module in, and it worked for about 10 seconds. And then it went back to doing what it was doing before. No trunk lights, and I don't think it's the wiring going through the snorkel here. We don't get the map lights and the C-pillar lights. We don't get the map lights, the little push-in button lights in the main center console, center front light. And his alarm works now, which it didn't before. We weren't getting beeping and flashing when locking and unlocking, regardless of coding settings. But that works again, so I don't understand what's going on with that. He's gonna take the car to an automotive electrician, someone just who specializes in electronics. I could do electronics fairly well, but gremlins like that literally could be anything. Any wire in the car pinched between a bolt and nut, some weird relay or fuse somewhere. I've gone through everything that you can see easily without removing carpeting, seats, and the entire dashboard, but we just can't get it. So looking at this car, this is a 530, I think. Yep. 530, I don't even know what year. I believe it's an 02 or an 03. I think I remember flipping the headlights to automatic. It is an 03, and we're doing a bunch of kind of small jobs, fuel filter, fuel pump, maybe an oil change. That's what he added at the end. I don't remember what it's here for in the first place, but we've got a box of parts over there for him. I think it's rear upper control arms, maybe some links or tie rods. Yeah, it's tie rods and bellows. So the goal is to start on this either tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest and get it out of here by Friday. M5's tucked in again because, why are we taking the 540 with no sunroof? Yes, it's very unpleasant. Because though, that's going down tomorrow to get the headliner loaded in. It's done, all the pillars and everything's done, ready for pickup. So I'll go down late morning on my way in, pick that up, and of course it only fits in the car that it's going to go in. I can't fold it in thirds and put it in the M5, but be a cold ride home again today. We'll get that in there tomorrow. Hopefully the rest of that work regarding all the reassembly and whatnot. So that'll keep me busy tomorrow afternoon. In the meantime, it's coming up on, it is after 9:30. I've been burning software disks that I've sold and doing emails and updating invoices and updating spreadsheets and just all the clerical work that has to get done at some point. I got the new sunroof gasket for the 540 last week. I peeled off the old one last week. Today, I went around for about two and a half hours with rubbing alcohol and Goo Gone and plastic razor blades and several towels, cleaned off all the old adhesive, and then used, my digital calipers aren't big enough to measure a spot like probably 8 or 10 inches wide in front of the sunroof. At the sunroof that would help me determine the exact center. So what I had to do was really just eyeball it and then use a tape measure to measure the center of the roof here where the seam should be to come back to this lip in the roof. So 52 millimeters and 2 tick marks, whatever the tick marks represent, is the exact center point. So I have a piece of tape on that, which will tell me where to apply the new seal tomorrow. I do believe we nailed down the body work scope for this 03 M5. We're going to be replacing all of these left shadow line pieces. Rather costly. Hope they're still available. I haven't gotten an ETA on those yet. So I ordered those today. We're going to be repainting. I've been through it a million times, but front right doors, overhaul both bumpers, follow it up with paint correction, compounding, polishing. What I'm unsure about is up here. I'm going to have the body lady look at this. Something rubbed right on that body line. I thought I had it out with rubbing compound by hand, but the lighting was poor and I couldn't tell. It is not out, though it did fade. So maybe there's hope for that yet. Dark as shit out here, but we sublet the X5 today to an exhaust specialty shop. My dad and Mike looked at the exhaust on this. We were going to pull it just to see if there's an issue causing those engine vibrations, like a dented resonator or something like that. And all of the hardware, it's just straight Titanic artifacts. For whatever reason, they felt like they were going to be unable to cut that off and get in there. So we sublet to an exhaust shop. They looked at the exhaust, said, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the exhaust system. It's the transmission. The vibrations are coming from either the torque converter or the mechanical pump inside the transmission. The torque converter is fairly new. It's a rebuilt unit. For some reason, it's bright blue. I don't know what that's about. And I don't know anything about the pump. I think it's probably original out of the new used transmission that he bought for this car. So let him know about that. During their test drives, it was reading about 1/8 of a tank of gas, no light on, no low fuel warning, and it died, stalled, would not start, out of gas. So we still have fuel pump issues. The gauge is bottoming out at 1/8 and not going below that. I don't know, I'm getting really tired of this thing and these problems that we just can't figure out. You do everything right, you replace everything right with genuine parts, and it still doesn't work. It's time to put a fork in today. I've been limping around all day because pretty sure I broke my second smallest toe last night. That hurts. Everything hurts. Just walking out into the garage kind of late last night to move my jeans from the washer to the dryer, and I stupidly left my shoes in front of the door, and I went out there with no light. So I just rolled my whole foot into the ground and like bent all my toes backwards with my full body weight. Heard this loud snap and it really hurt. Did all night, did this morning. So I Googled it and it says, you know, if it doesn't look like there's bones sticking out of it, it should heal on itself or by itself in a few weeks. So if it doesn't get any worse or turn black or fall off, I'm just going to let that roll. Kind of sucks. Going to hurt productivity a little bit, not to mention the discomfort.